an aspiring powerlifter, and you're either doing bench squats or deadlifts, and you're trying to get your numbers up, this video is for you. I feel like I gotta do my usual preface. I'm not a trainer, I'm not an expert, I'm just some schmuck that works construction and lifts in his garage. That being said, I don't know, I've been doing this for a while. I can tell you what works for me. Last year in around June when I competed, I finished with a 1410 total, although I would think I was doing closer to 1,500 pounds in the gym on a regular basis. You know, lifts that wouldn't count on the platform, like touch and go on the chest. You have to pause it for it to count on the platform, so you might be able to bench 350, 360 in the gym, but it might not count on the platform if you don't get that good pause. So it's hard to go off of your competition total sometimes. Nevertheless, I was doing around 1,500 pounds, and I was able to put over 100 pounds on my total in less than 6 months. How did I do that? For starters, I got some coaching. I was trying to basically PR all 3 lifts at the same time, and I wound up doing way too much volume. So I sought the assistance of coaching, and I just basically started asking other people what they were doing, because I figured if I keep doing things my way, I'm going to keep getting the same results. And the first thing that my coaching told me to do was cut the volume. I can't serve 3 masters. I have to kind of specialize. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, I took my weakest lift, which was my bench, and basically I upped the volume of the bench. I went from doing bench once a week to 3 times a week. I actually tripled the volume on that specific lift, but I put the other 2 lifts in maintenance mode. So essentially what that means is I'm just lifting with enough frequency and volume and intensity to not lose any strength, but I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to really work on those 2 lifts. I don't really care if my squat or deadlift numbers go up. Well, the next thing is, what did my actual programming look like for the bench? I was attacking it a bunch of different ways, but essentially what I was doing was one heavy day. I didn't have a ton of volume, but I would go for heavy AMRAPs. So my working set would be calculated based off a certain percentage, and I would always do an AMRAP, which means as many reps as possible on my heavy day for whatever the rep range was on that specific day. The other 2 days, I was doing accessories that specifically targeted my weak spots. So wherever my sticking points were, if my sticking point was, say, 6 to 8 inches off the chest, I would find some way of doing overloads, either pin presses or bench block or slingshot, some way to overload that lift in that specific rep range. So you're shortening the range of motion, essentially. You're adding more weight than you can usually do, and you're targeting that specific sticking point. For some people, it might be right off the chest. In that case, 3rd day, I might do some deficit work. So essentially, I have 1 full range of motion day, and then the other 2 days, I'm doing partial range or deficit work to work on the sticking points. What about bulking, you might ask? A lot of people, they just put more weight on. Well, it didn't work for me. I gotta stay in a weight class. So I had 20 pounds of weight to work with. Now, I did intentionally put a few extra pounds on, and I crept to the top of that weight class. But the thing is, at my age, I don't believe in bulking. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of bulking. I can only speak for myself, but every extra pound that I put on is a little bit harder on the knees and the joints. It's a little less aesthetically pleasing, and you might not care about that. That's fine. But it raises your blood pressure. I don't know. For me, I didn't feel good. I was tired all the time. And when I decided that I didn't want to wear that weight anymore, it's a lot harder to take off. As you get older, it's just harder to take weight off. Yeah, I don't think that's a controversial statement. Honestly, I'd say number one thing above all, the thing that helped me the most was finding the coach that I liked working with, picking a program, sticking with it long enough to see if it did anything for me, typically 4 to 6 weeks, and then logging my data. I'm writing all my numbers down, I'm tracking my progress, and that allows me to make informed decisions. If I don't like what I see, I can make adjustments. If I'm working with somebody that's competent and knows what he's doing, it's easy to make adjustments like rep ranges, the amount of weight you're lifting, the volume, the intensity, that sort of thing. So essentially, recap. Break it down kindergarten style. What does it mean? If you're trying to get a lift up, it's lift or lift. Okay, I would pick just one. I would focus on one at a time, put the other two in maintenance mode. I would target overloads and deficits for sticking points. I would find a program and I would stick with it, and I would seek the assistance of a competent coach. I did all those 4 things, and from the period of June 2021 to January 2022, I went up over 100-pound total on all 3 lifts. And, the same applies for whichever lift you're working on. When I wanted to get my deadlift numbers up, I focused on the deadlift, and I put the squats and the bench in maintenance mode. It's just too much work, especially, as you get older, you can't be trying to PR all 3 lifts all the time. It's too hard on your body. I think so anyways. I can only speak for myself. It's too hard on my body. That's how I started getting injured. It's just way better to dial back the intensity of the other lifts and focus on one at a time. And I got really good results from that. Anyway, hope this helps. Hit me up if you got any questions. I'll be happy to lend whatever expertise I have. Talk to you later.